one of the questions a lot of people kept asking is, well, this only really happens to really rich people. People are doing millions of dollars or whatever. This doesn't really, the IRS isn't really after or isn't really charging like ordinary people. Well, to the contrary, my friend. We started this tax tea because I did a course, and it is a course that we're currently running a year-end special on because there are so many people that we find that are having this issue. Now, the course that I'm referring to is our Stay Out of Jail Plan course. Now, part of the reason this came up is because, recently in the news, there have been, a major case of a celebrity that was found, guilty. Well, they were found guilty months ago, but they were sentenced to 12 years in prison. The wife got 7, the accountant got 3. And a lot of that is because the accountant that they were getting information from, insight from, was pretty shady and not giving them the best insight. And one of the things I tell people is, just because your accountant is giving you bad advice, that doesn't mean the IRS is going to be like, oh, okay, all right, we'll look the other way. Like, no, the IRS is still going to hold you account. I mean, because even when you think about it, like the husband got 12 years, the wife got 7, the accountant only got
3. Because at the end of the day, the IRS doesn't hold them. Yes, he did bad things, but at the end of the day, you're responsible as a business owner. Period.
Yes. So we started, like I said, that Stay Out of Jail Plan course. You can go to our website. You can get it. Like I said, if you use the no tax fraud, if you use that, that code, you'll be able to get it for a discount. Again, like I said, that's the Stay Out of Jail Plan. And what it's going to talk about is those common mistakes and what's a mistake versus what's a crime. Because there are some things that you do that may be a mistake that isn't necessarily a crime. So you do want to know the difference. And then also we talk about who's to blame, like who actually going to get in trouble for XYZ. And I think for a lot of people that are listening to probably the wrong person, they're going to get themselves in trouble because they're taking advice from the wrong people. So we talk about some of the red flags, some of the things to look out for. Now, because we were, when I taught that class, one of the questions a lot of people kept asking is, well, this only really happens to really rich people. People are doing millions of dollars or whatever. This doesn't really, the IRS isn't really after or isn't really charging like ordinary people. Well, to the contrary, my friend, because in today's tax tea, it is a gentleman that over let's say 3-4 year period, he made $400,000 in sales. Now, over let's say a 3.5 year period, that isn't millions of dollars a year. That is like what? That's like what, $100,000 and maybe $30,000 a year. And that's in sales, in top line sales. So very low 6 figures. And this gentleman he got caught in the situation and then he ended up pleading guilty. Now, this happened on November the 22nd. So we don't know what the sentencing is going to be. A little bit of time before the gentleman gets his sentence. But this goes to show you that there are some people, the IRS is actually investigating cases, not just of the super wealthy. There are people at all levels that are being found guilty and convicted and sentenced for committing crimes like this. Now, to give you the backstory on this one, because this one was interesting because, it was I guess you say it was a shady and elaborate kind of scheme. So here's what the situation was. The gentleman actually owned a physical store where he sold products and stuff like that. So what he would do is, and this is not my kind of recount of it. This is literally what was written in the IRS's press brief. So what the gentleman was doing is he was finding people who were often addicted to drugs or homeless or like really down on their luck. And what he was doing is he was paying those people to go steal products from different stores, or he was telling them, hey, I'll pay you X amount if you can get, these types of products. Things like, over-the-counter medicine like ibuprofen, like things like cold medicine, things like I guess they would call them like health supplements, like vitamins, all that type of stuff. There were some electronics and stuff like that. There were different things that this guy was paying these people. And it wasn't like they just found him. He was going out and he was finding some of these people, and he would offer to pay them to buy the products from them for pennies on the dollar. So he was paying them pennies on the dollar. They would go steal this stuff, come back to him. He would pay them pennies on the dollar. And then he would turn around and take that stuff and then sell it on Amazon. And this guy did this for like 3.5, 4 years or so, and finally got caught. And part of it was probably wasn't reporting this as income on his tax returns. I mean, because most people don't realize is that the IRS, like the tax code, does have a rule. Even if you illegally gain the money, you are still supposed to report it on your taxes according to the IRS. So most people don't realize that. But so this gentleman now there's a conspiracy for theft. And then there's also, like I said, selling the stolen goods and then failing to report income, full income on his tax return, to where it's just like you got multiple levels of issues going on. Now, here's where I think is important for all of you is one is this wasn't a $1 million scheme. And two is this person was going to somebody to get his tax return, done. Someone should have told him, hey, this income that you're not reporting or that you're trying to hide, the IRS is going to come after you, because what you don't know is if you're selling this stuff on Amazon, it's not like you're making the money under the table. Amazon is responsible for filing a 1099. Amazon is telling the IRS, hey, here's the list of all of the people that we paid money to because they sold stuff on our site. This gentleman did not know that the IRS already knew he was making money. Now, they didn't know the goods were stolen, but the IRS already knew because Amazon had to report a 1099 to say, hey, we paid this gentleman this money. So the IRS has just been sitting back waiting to say, hey, this amount of money better show up on this guy's tax return. And when it didn't, all the dots were easily to connect. And then when they started looking into it, they realized the goods were stolen, and they realized this guy was scheming because he was getting people who were down their luck, who were addicted to drugs, to go steal the stuff for them, to where it's just like all of this evidence compounded against this guy. And it's like, it's not $1 million case, but like, guy, someone should have told you that, hey, you're going to get caught, and here are the ways that you're going to get caught. So that is your tax team for the week.